me, Sophie, the tiny kitten human. I'm exhausted, but I'm going to try and get this done today. So here is a not instructional video of a pretty femme-presenting person putting together a PC. It's not very tutorialized because I don't have the energy for that, but let's have fun anyway if anybody watches. That's what I have energy for. And I'm not very good at standing for long periods of time, but apparently this is the better way to do it, so I'm going to do it this way. First things first, we need to actually put the new motherboard into the case. And there should be these things lined up. There's like AM, it says next to one of them. AM. Yeah, look at that. Anyway, we're going to try and line those up. And this part here, there's a part that goes there. That hurts to hold, so. This part kind of in the way, but just okay, not too much in the way. I'm just gonna adjust this, move this in place, make sure you get the head. Line the screw going in places of this. Wait a minute, it seems like this is most easily removed before I put it in place, so. Whee! Satisfying removing things. I feel hard. Okay, now that does appear to be lining up. We are now lined up fairly well. That's now in place. Got my screw fixed here. So started to move the stuff out of the way. Brought my camo chair because standing for a long time is not great with my body. I'm not like just decommissioned or something. I have a condition. Hi, Kilo? I don't know how to pronounce that. 1024? I am tired, but determined to finish this. How are you? Currently securing the motherboard to the... Hey. I'll get that out from the back later. I have more. The reasoning that I'm just leaving that runaway screw is that in order to get to it, I would need to completely reposition the case and remove the back panel, and then it would be easy to find, but that is not going to be easy to do while it's landed flat like this. Okay, that first step is done. The motherboard is now secure in the case. Not that way. Now I'm going to change out which way is it supposed to be? I don't know. Moving these because I have a liquid cooling system for my CPU that requires a different mounting method. And that mounting system uses record mounting these. They go down this way because you can see that it's got a screw that goes in. So you screw it down. And this what the gray thing is the spacer. Next, here is where you can put your main memory thing. Because this, I think, might help protect it and cool it, I believe. So in the instruction manual that comes with the motherboard, which I'm going to grab in just a sec, there's this. You put your main C drive there, and then I go, okay. then get string spot parts. And then you remove the film, and it's probably like a heatsink, I'm guessing, or just keeps it protected. Anyway, here is my Curial by Micron MX500 M2 SATA SSD. Make sure whenever you're doing anything with your memory, always ensure that there is no power to your motherboard. Because if there's power going to your motherboard, that can actually completely corrupt your main C drive, your main drive of your computer where most of your programs are installed, unless you add additional, SSDs, HDDs, or external drives. So you really want to make sure that it's powered off when you plug it out, plug it back in, because it's not meant to be removable. And so if you aren't careful with that, you will actually completely destroy the thing. If you just unplug a non-removable storage thing, it like breaks forever for real, which is kind of wild. But it's a thing, so make sure you disconnect all your drives early. Which these days only really comes into play if you have some internal, like SSDs, HDDs. Any external hard drive should be able to be plug in, plug out just fine. It's not as much of an issue as it used to be a while ago, when you had to make sure to eject most like USB type things and stuff. But, in general, anytime you're going to be working with your motherboard, you should really ensure that it's not receiving any power. That's it. That's all. The little packet says M2 screw. This is M2. Ah, I see, because this replaces that part. That's if you have a... I'm not sure. Anyway, the directions here for your this M2 thing show that you do need to remove the film. careful and gentle with this. It's just a little bit confusing. Okay. That's the SSD in place. There's also another one if you wanted to add a second SSD built in here. Apparently, it's neat, but I don't have. Okay, now I'm going to start working on connecting some cables, and where these things go, the one page is actually quite helpful. So. Well, start step. Step down further. These are much smaller outcomes. Interesting. I guess I'll need to get some SATA 6 cords because these are very small. No, this is for power actually. And this is your SATA cords. So here, take these SATA cords, go back there, roots. They go to my additional storage hard drives. There's one. Okay, now let's look at how these are labeled. This is USB 3.1. And back here, little thingy. USB 2.0, USB 5S. This also kind of is shaped as such that it says right fits, like a cat. And cats fit where they sit where they fit. Something that's kind of neat and helpful about putting a piece together is that it's actually pretty straightforward. So you see the shape of that, and it says I don't know, it says USB U5G. No, sorry, U. Anyway, this thing here, this fits it. So that's plugged in. And just stick that. This is a DRGB fan. So this is going to fit in a certain spot. Pretty sure Cassis fan means case fan. Although most of the fans are this actually seems to connect here. And here is your main power supply. And as you can see, the shape makes it so that it fits in one spot. And in fact, there's on it and the clip there. There. And this USB 3.0. It connects to the USB plugins at the top of the piece. You might be able to see these USB spots. It's labeled on thing that fits it. See? That's the side. Sorry, gotta find it again. Ah, here we are again. USB 3.0. And we chose USG 5 and then this. It's just in the spot. And if you look, there's a slot there. You can really see that there's a slot there where it's kind of this gap in the plastic, and that matches on here. so you know which way to place it. So we go, that's it, and it fits it in the spot. Right now I'm going to try and take care of most of these pluggy thingies. So, front panel audio. We're at step 7, which is actually important to follow here because if you don't wire it to the correct spots, which is not as straightforward as the rest of the other stuff, and you're going to want to incorporate. So it should put USB connector, and then there's one more. USB, power supply. Double checking. So there's another part. This seems good to go with the RGB 3-pin. There's some okay. The USB thing. We have the one that's got 4 prongs and 1 missing. This actually. Look. I can see what it says, audio. I just wonder where. Yeah, it's not actually the best way to do it. For that one, I'm gonna have to do later because it needs to go. The only way that it's really gonna be efficient is if I go from the back panel, which would have to readjust how I'm doing all this. So that will be last. Overall, the princess wear fan plugs in. Face fan. Okay. Let's see. 2000. That's a tiny bit cramped at first. So the front panel instructions for this one are important to pay attention to. So I got declined the power LED round stuff like a steady power default plant. Anyway, right, got distracted. So with that. Things. As you see, I'm a little confused because it's power SW, right? The what's the position right spot? Next is there. This is something. Something. Audio that have to be later. on the motherboard, which is toppled. So I'm stuffing while it's still in. It's not sure. I guess I'll put it. Oh, okay, so it just is labeled power, so it's yeah, good. I put this power in that. You can't see it. Whatever. Follow the directions on the thing. I was aware before I started. For this one, I do need to be able to reference the front and back. I want to be able to do this successfully. So I'm going to remove the back panel. this jazz. And now that I can get down here, I can actually guide this. Figure out how this needs to be guided.
Okay. Really be careful.
Now we can these bridge into each other. quiet, but I'm tired. Anyway, there's that instruction video. Look up something. On the camera. Anyway, there are things here that need to be plugged in. They go together. That's plugged in, and now part of the problem is that my battery for my flashlight's dying. But here's the audio that you need to connect, and you can see this. There's one spot where it isn't, and then here it matches, trust me. There we go, that's in for the audio. I am going to do, which is going to be quite a challenge because it's big and heavy. I'm going to install the GPU next. Or maybe I'll do the have this it adds more USB slots. Yep, it's the same thing as the bigger one. It just fits certain sizes if you need. So that can fit. And now I just need the rubber screw. Just one at a please. Going like you're supposed to. Hello. Yeah, I have a GPU. I think I'm muted? Uh, hmm? If you can't hear me, let me okay, can you hear me now? Um, let me check that. doing a test. Okay, I've pulled up things now. Okay, I've pulled up. So the audio is working. I've double checked that. Let me see what happens now. Pulled up. Let's see what happens if I go to properties and swap to the better input. So the audio is working. I've double checked that. Let me see what happens now. Let's see what happens if I go to properties and swap the better Okay, now I'm waiting for the catch up to see if you can hear anything. The audio is working. I've double checked that. Let me see what happens. Okay, the audio is definitely working. Snacks official, check to make sure you're not muted. You're not don't have the audio off. So I just pulled up the stream and double checked. I'm actually gonna be right back and I'm gonna grab some new batteries for this. It's fine. Hey, this is bright again. Yay. Oh my goodness, that makes a huge difference. Wow, that's a ginormous difference. Anyway. It needed new batteries. That would have been so much easier to see for all that time. Anyway, so I've that in. Now I'm going to screw it in place. If the board would just cooperate with me. Come on, cooperate. There we go. Okay, let's start it in. Now I can do this. Get that to go into place. camera's in a good position. Kind of have to make so this is the extra things. And something that I like to keep in there is the 2.4. 2.4 for the Razer mouse. I keep it on the inside because I always use that mouse. So, in. Now I'm going to get to the GPU. We'll go here. I've already inserted the SATA SSD. Oh, so here is my GPU. It's a Radeon RX 6700 XT XFX quick 310. There, I have a box for it somewhere. 319. I like that it's got the 3 fans. And gotta make sure my screws are ready. Then vaguely started. So I can slot them into place. That's mostly it. Now I'm going to grab this and put it in, which you're not going to really be able to see me do that very well, unfortunately. Especially as it's so very big. Well, those need to go in after. Yeah, that's not gonna happen first. Just bring it here. See what that shows. Quite. That's fine. And it's a black. Okay. So I'm just gonna. You're gonna. Watch my cat. That's Swiss. So half Swiss. Now that I've got it tentatively in, I'm gonna show you here. So see, that goes there, and then this, be sure helps keep it in place. And again, need both hands, but that goes in that slot, and this keeps it in place or allows it to be pulled out. Because look at it. Isn't he a handsome boy? That's Swissy Baby. And create shove them securely. And now, instead of watching the cat, we can go back to this. And now it's time to connect power supply for the GPU. And here we go. This is actually kind of hot to hold. untangling some stuff. Plugging this in. And I'm going to secure. Oh, one is an Apple Watch, one is like an Amazfit thing. Yeah, I know it's helpful to lay the case down. I had it laid down at the very beginning. But there are certain cores that I need to have access to the back panel to be able to place correctly and to see where everything connects. So that's why I started with that, having the case laid down from advice about doing so, but I found that for this specific case, that wasn't really working for me, and so I needed to set it back up. That's why I have it set up right now. But thank you for the advice. Anyway, it normally would probably be good advice. It just, in this case, it didn't cooperate, I guess, with my SIS setup. You see this audio? That's oh, you can't see what I'm pointing at because again I'm pointing at that cable at the far left in the second part. It wasn't going to fit unless I was able to manipulate it from the back side of the case. So I needed to do that, as well as for a couple other things. It worked most easily for me in this case. But I do appreciate the advice because it did help me. I definitely don't think I would have been very easily able to secure the motherboard itself to the case if I hadn't laid it flat first. So let's see. I'm going to see if the screwdriver can work. So it is. I got it started. Cool. And that one's too small for it. I can go back to the longer one. I'm sure my dad has some extra long screwdrivers for situations such as these. Okay, that seems to be in there securely. Just trying to get the. And I see what you mean with like being able, this part being able to slightly easier. Like as far as the getting the GPU in goes. There we go. Thank you. Now you're in. Finally. And I can type again. There we go. Good GPU. Grab these. Now it's in. Yay! And you see the reason that I did the additional USB ports first is because I do not think it would have been possible to do that in reverse order. Okay, I feel like I should probably do the CPU next. And for that, I have my stuffs ready. Including where my thermal paste and my water cooling system that has all this time had the spot to put the get the RGB lights to work. This is the fan one. I think I need another cord. And I just never noticed because there was a rubber protector on there so that it wouldn't get dust and it could transport properly. Or if you didn't want to use it, it wouldn't get dust in it. But it actually secretly had the space for. Just making sure I have all the. Had the space for the RGBness of this is supposed to have. Okay. Just to figure out how to connect that part. And what wire I need. Which I should really try and do before I completely attach it, because it's going to be difficult to do so later. Just looking for something. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm looking for cords. So I found my cord, and I'm returning. Lovely. Okay, I needed to get one of these. It the it's not in focus, but it's this GRB, and it goes no, it doesn't. Oh, does this go? That looks like it'll fit. Now this has an ability to connect to RGB things. And I'm going to eventually just connect that to eventually I'm just going to connect that to whatchamacallit, the other fan stuff. But this is the liquid cooling system. But aside from now, we don't actually need it quite yet. And this is the internet and stuff, or that goes with it's magnetic, so I can just it there. And there are two little that does need to be put back. And another one, I'll have to pull it from where I keep those spare parts. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is reattaching one of those. So now I'm going to open my CPU. Using this. Yeah, my motherboard does have a Wi-Fi card. Let me see if I can shrink that screen so I can read these a little bit better. Or, yeah, there. I'm upgrading the computer, so I'm upgrading from DDR4 32 gigabytes of 8 gigabyte DDR4 RAM to DDR5 64 gigabytes. Before they were like gel something. They were RGB. This one's not RGB, but that's fine. I have a lot of RGB. 232s. My dad got it for me for Christmas. And because my other motherboard, which was a Tomahawk motherboard, my old motherboard, which I still have here because the first part of the thing I took it out, is a Tomahawk B450 Max 2, and it needed certain updates in order to function with the CPU that I had, which was the AMD Ryzen 9500, but it was like 90 or 5900, but it was a series. Anyway, so this is my old motherboard. It did not have built-in internet or Bluetooth, although it did have the ability to connect an Ethernet, which is largely what I was using. So previously, for Wi-Fi, using and Bluetooth was using this peripheral. But this one comes with it already as part of the whole system. And yeah, this is the motherboard. Yeah, we did get them in like my dad has been working on getting these things in bits over time, so we did get them before they skyrocketed. They were slightly more expensive, but it was like, okay, they're starting to go up, get them now. The graphics card I got a couple of years ago, Black Friday. It's a Radeon XFX RX 6700 XT 319. It's good for like 440 gaming. It's got 12 gigabytes of things. It seems pretty good. If I, now that the other things are upgraded, if I ever were to upgrade, that would be what I would do next. But this one seems pretty good. It was just like some of the RAM that was lagging behind. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty good. So I don't really need to upgrade that. It's just in order to upgrade the motherboard, to get any of the new motherboards, now they only do the Fusion RAM, which is an M5 socket instead of an M4 socket. It's a different shape, and the same motherboards aren't going to fit the DDR4 RAM anymore. They only fit the DDR5 RAM. But yeah, we did get the RAM when it was only starting to go crazy, not when it went crazy. Yeah. But I'm gonna install the CPU next and open this with my tiny little real knife. Here we go. What I find kind of interesting. And so this time I went for, it's a 900 series processor. It's the AMD Ryzen 5 9600X. My other one, which was the DDR, or not, sorry, not the DDR, AMD 4, or AM4. Lots of technical terms. Was the 9, but the 5900. So, and yeah, it's very easy to see. This one's blatantly obvious how it's different. Just trying to remember where I put my there it is. The old you can't actually read what it was anymore, but if you look at these two, see this is the AM4, and you see it so let's focus. But it's got pins that you push into the thing. This one is flatter. And what I find kind of puzzling about this particular motherboard is that the instructions. So yeah, I had the Ryzen 5000. Anyway, is that it tells you in the instructions to that do not remove PNP cap before the CPU is fully installed. Please refer to the manual for more information on the motherboard. But it seems to indicate that it wants you to keep like this on, that on afterwards. So you, in order to open this you and I am going to lie the case back flat again in just a second. Let's see, that goes there and fits like that, but it says that it wants you to keep on there. Important, install processor first, then remove and keep the cover. Replace this cover after. Oh, I see. Okay, I understand now. So it's just saying that you keep. I have to figure out how to pull it out, but Not sure how that's supposed to come out. Gaia? My dad helped with the same motherboard. I was gonna go ask him how I'm supposed to what I'm supposed to do with that. Gaia, the tough gaming thing that goes over the CPU socket that I think you're supposed to like take off when you put the CPU in, and then if you remove the CPU, you put it back on over it, like to protect the sensitive tech. How do you take it off? Oh, okay. Okay, my dad explained it. I call him Gaia because that's when I was a baby. I called him that instead of dad for some reason because it was just I started calling him that. He thought it was really really cute, and so he encouraged it, and that became my version as like dad or daddy or whatever. We're really close. We were separated for a while I was growing up. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do this part somehow. So see how I've put the that in place? Oh, so there we go. Anyway, so there we go. But see how there are these little things, and they're gonna match up with you get them to match up, and what you do in order to get this to go in place is you apparently I might have damaged it, but and it pops right off. No, go back in there. Okay. So yeah, this pops off. Okay, I'm gonna turn the light intensity down actually. And now it shows the AM5 and AMD Ryzen and all of that. Cool. And now I'm going to work on installing the cooling system. So yeah, tops off. Here's my liquid cooling, and here is the part that goes onto the CPU. And here's my thermal paste. Remove the cap. Don't, when you're working on your don't forget the thermal paste. It's important because for temperature is important. I'm going to do dot there, dot, 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 dot. Don't want to do too much. Yeah, I do have thermal. But there's a bit of a delay in things. That is true. Although, let's see, without pushing it all the way back, let's just see. No. Testing the waters. That is not in the way of the RAM. And to go with the installed screws that go specifically with this cooling system are these spring ones. Set them up here. Not tighten, just put in place. And once I start screwing them in, I'm not going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Making sure that's secure. Or, I guess 1, 2, 3, 4. And being careful not to over tighten because it also tightens the screws that if you over tighten it, it also tightens the screws that attach the longer screw type. There are a bunch of different screw types depending on what your cooling system is. But here's one without the casing, but because it screws on both ways, if you over tighten it, it was really hard to get it off of my old motherboard. So be aware of that. And now I'm going to worry as much about knowing exactly what I'm doing because it's really difficult at the moment. So there's my kitty Swiss. Swissy Poo, can you face mommy? Why? I know that a lot of people call their say that their mommy to their pets. My cats where does the CPU fan okay? Oh yeah, so it does go. This is the pump. So, but I raised them from bottle babies, both him and his brother, who's a black kitty named SohitheTinyKittenHuman. And his name is Swiss. My little brother named him Swiss. I always wanted to name a black cat SohitheTinyKittenHuman. I'm half Japanese. I lived there until I was 9, almost 10. So, and I had the pleasure of watching Studio Ghibli during that time. I wasn't in Japan when it first came out, unfortunately, but because that was when I think before I was born. But I watched a re-release of it when I was like 8. Maybe I saw Spirited Away, like the sprites for the first time. And I was like 8 in Japan. And for me, perhaps funny enough, what horrified me was not any of the monsters. It was the part where she has to figure out which of the pigs are her parents. And it's a trick question. I don't know why, but as a little kid, that was the part of Spirited Away that gave me nightmares. Not, giant baby or creepy grandma. I mean, No Face is a sweetheart. Like, was anyone else horrified by that part of the... Thank you, he is really cute. This is my second time building a computer, but it's kind of like a half, because, when I built this originally, that was my first time. Although I did help my dad, with building my brothers when that time came. He actually has been in tech since like the 80s, or no, early 90s, because he was born 1984. So no, not 1984, 1974. Sorry, he's not that young. But he has been in tech since really, really early on. He can tell you about all of that. But he's sleeping right now because it is 2 a.m. where I am. Okay, there we go. That is secured the fan part of the liquid cooling. Wow, these batteries do really fast. Let's see what happens if I power it off. Nope. Grabbing from the battery. Fruit box. Batteries. They're rechargeable. So that's great. And that's part of why these ones didn't last very long at all. Because when batteries started to say, I'm low on battery earlier, I grabbed from battery charger ones that were probably not completely charged yet. So hence they drained really quickly. I really, really tried to like Stranger Things. I just couldn't get into it. And mind you, I like other similar stuff. I love like the show Fringe, Star Trek, Firefly, um, just anime that has like similar themes and ideas. I just couldn't really get into it. The reason that I'm really into D&D is actually kind of awesome because my dad was that kid. Um, who was born in the late 70s, and so he was a kid in the 80s. And so he started with AD&D second edition, and he's been playing since he was like a young kid. And so he's got all of these like advanced Dungeons and Dragons stuff, first edition and second edition, that he's had his whole life. So here's the player's handbook for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, first edition. And here's the monster manual for the first edition. And then Dungeon Master's Guide for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons second edition. Legends and Lore. Really well taken care of, but also well loved. Another Dungeon Master's Guide. And then the Player's Handbook. So, the first time I ever played D&D was after reuniting with my dad, because my birth mom kind of took us away illegally, but was playing with my dad after reuniting with him, because I aged out of the foster system in Florida, and then at 18, and then I graduated high school. And then I turned 19, so I graduated high school at 18. And then I went to one summer and then fall semester of college before I moved from Florida to where I live now, the other side of America, to reunite with my dad. And then I started with AD&D second edition as the first edition that I ever played. So then when my dad was gonna DM for me and my best friend from church, and my best friend from church's son, and my youngest brother, we were all used to Advanced D&D second edition. my friend Daniel and my friend Carolyn, or my friend Carolyn and my now friend, also Daniel, but that's how I met Daniel, the friend. They were familiar with 4th edition. So since we were coming from different editions, we decided we were all going to learn 5th edition, and now we all play 5th edition. But no, I didn't get into D&D from Stranger Things, although I think the fact that Stranger Things made it popular is really, really awesome, because now it's a big thing and there are so many more people to play with, and there's so much more money that goes into it, because it pays to for D&D to continue to be a thing, and it means that we have all of this stuff that we can do, and it's like I think it's not how I was introduced, but I think it's really awesome that happens. It made it mainstream. Not sure what some screws are picking up. But yeah, my dad's been playing since like OG. He's awesome. Great, I wanted to. Those are fans. Anyway, so the fan is connected to the pump fan. Interesting. What I said was interesting is that in here, the fan slot that goes with the liquid cooler only has 3 prongs instead of 4. It's fine. One of the things that I just think is neat about PC building is that things fit where they go, and things are clearly labeled. So it's been pretty simple, at least as long as I've been building things. It seems really intimidating, and then everything is labeled. I am going to install now. mine up to a little. Camera friend guy. He might be a bit in the way, but I'm pretty sure when you have 2, you put the 2 RAM instead of 4, and it needs to be all of the same type and style. So you put it in. Is it labeled on it? Two and 4, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna say 2 and 4. I know that the slots are different. I'm just kind of curious if you compare them. Yep. Well, let me see what I can do with the better light. If you compare them, that's the good way to show. A good way to show them. See how it doesn't line up, the DDR4 and the DDR5? The slots are different, which is really good so that you don't try and shove something in that doesn't fit. Well, on the front page, it shows you that it has it labeled. You might not be able to read it, but I can look at this, correspond it to from the left to the right. Black is 1 and 3, gray is 2 and 4. So we're going to want to put into the gray slots since we have 2. And make sure that the slot lines up. Open. No, not one. Am I putting it in the right way? I'm untangling the cord for them. There, now it's much longer. Am I putting it in the right way? It's like it. That's been fun of that. Webcam fell, but that's one in. Now for the second in the fourth slot. Oh, and my cat is being even cuter now. So you can kind of see its face better. Okay. That we're both in. I did remember it was 2 and 4, where that seemed right in my head. I just wanted to be 100% sure. Oh, he's so sleepy. He was a little bit of a ragdoll. Ragdoll my friend for a little bit there. Yeah, my two cats and Susu's somewhere else. There's Susu. He's the one who's really attached to me and obsessed with me. They both really love me, but whatchamacallit, things. But they were Mom hadn't been around in over 24 hours. I've been keeping track of them, and they were inside the engine of this guy's car. And at first, he was like, okay, just, or rather, he said, well, this is the date that I have to get to work. Because some of the kids from the neighborhood helped find who owned the car. And sorry, I'm just distracted. My bad. But and the guy who owned the car was a monster because he literally said that if you don't get them out of I'm not gonna come help. I'm not gonna honk the horn of my car or anything like that. If you can't get them out of the car, the engine, and I have to leave for work tomorrow, I'm just gonna leave for work. So it was an emergency. They needed to be gone. What is that situation? And so yeah, that's how I got two of my cats, the brothers. And so I raised them from bottle babies. And they do seem to genuinely be under the impression that I'm mom because I raised them from an age of about probably barely 4 weeks, where they were still dependent on mom. That's why I refer to them, say specifically for Swiss, call myself mommy, because they actually, Swiss, it's funny, cats, right, like, will learn what's safe to eat based on the things that mom eats by smelling how mom's mouth smells, and to determine from the breath what mom eats. And so I love cucumbers. Like, I really love cucumbers. They're one of my favorite foods. Have been my whole life. I'm a cucumber fan. Anyway, so love cucumbers. And so I eat them all the time. And it was just really funny thing how Swiss loves cucumbers. Like, cats, pretty much as a rule, don't love cucumbers. I've had other cats before who just, it's not even the smell of it. It's not just because they look like snakes that it's a meme. I just find that cats don't tend to like cucumbers. But because I eat them so much, he loves them. There's probably some video on my channel somewhere of me feeding him a cucumber off of the knife I'm using to cut the cucumber with. So, yeah. He loves cucumbers. Unique trick for a kitty bee. I'm trying to see things now because things are pretty much installed. That's where that white thingy goes. I have additional fans and the power plugs in there. I see up there, and those are plugged in the back. This thing is magnetic. And it connects the fans and some LED lights, like these LED lights. I'm gonna remove this from the picture. I'm gonna place the top bit, or I think I have them here before. And then I had it so that there are some additional fans that help keep the GPU cool. That's what that's kind of there for, just to make sure that it's not lying flat, so that when it sections. I forget which way the fans go, but that's an easy swap around. But the fans stay there, they also help keep the motherboard, not the motherboard, the GPU cool. Now I'm going to go grab the cord for the power supply and just see if it turns on. Not gonna connect it. I like pickles too, yeah. Love pickles, love cucumbers. I like to make my own pickles, like sweetened pickles. Not the stuff that you get from the store, but I'll mix white vinegar with a little bit of brown sugar, and I'll cut the, I will caterpillar the cucumber where it's like you cut it one way, flip it over, cut it the other way so it goes whoop. Caterpillar the cucumber, and I'll put it in there for like 10 minutes, no more. More than 10 minutes overdoes it. I'll do it with full-size cucumbers, and I'll eat the whole thing in like one sitting. I love cucumbers. What did I come over here for? Power supply. Now we're gonna see if it works. Before I press the button, I'm gonna. Yep. I think this does plug in. ARGB. We'll see if that does RGB then. I think that's. I think we're finished. Let's see if it. Oh, yep, cool. And I'll pull this back and show you something that's never worked before. Is the light has never worked because I hadn't figured out that little slot. I'm going to turn it back off real quick. Pull out this fan and figure out which way is supposed to be top and bottom. Okay, I had it upside down. turn it off, and then place it back down. Okay, good. Okay, these batteries need to be charged. Pine fruit 1. Move that out of the way. Move them away. That should be good. That should be good. Open down. I'm going to put back the back on. But I did need to access the back panel, so. Upside down keycap when I reattach this. Which I'm probably blocking anyway, but. Here we go. Press the thing. There we go. So, here we go. Do you need to work the inside too? But yeah, so then there's fans in the front, fans in there. Those aren't lit up, or I need to plug those in. Power down. Ensure there's no. Probably nothing up. Anyway, right. Those are connected in the back, actually. So, I need to check the back again. I don't know what you're seeing because my dad's computer is I looked up picking cozy. Allows me to Okay, so here. Let's put you there. Alright, so all those fans. And here's the power. Okay. Be right back. I'm back. Just gonna put one more thing back in, I think. Right. Now I'm gonna click that again. Let's see if those. There we go. Now everything's plugged in. It just chaos. See, his phone fell. My bad. It's in a really protected case, so it's fine. Now there's just one more thing to do, and it's entirely possible that it's not ready for that yet because I believe it needs to update the BIOS and stuff. I'm gonna grab my dad's monitor. My monitor is the one back there. The thing is, it's bolted to my setup because you can have cat pants, huh? Yeah, it is Fantex, the case. Now, see if this needs a power cord. An HDMI cable. Cord for the dad's monitor. I used to do for. Yep, that fits. Okay, well that's powered on. It's just not connected because I haven't plugged it in. HDMI cable. Actually, I do have that better cable. Rather better cable. Sorry. Perfect. And so, what I'm talking about, the better cable, is that kind of pen to HDMI. And I use that and I plug that into graphics card. Setting all this up, I've made a huge mess. signal. It might need to set up the BIOS. I'm also going to try HDMI. Let's see what happens. Let's put it in here. I know it's not brick, so let's see. I don't expect there to be a signal. Yeah. So I plugged in for one to see what happened. And if that's not working, that's something I can figure out on today. It's got a white light and a yellow light. Let me turn off the. White light and yellow light. That one's white and that one's yellow. If I kind of cover up the white yellow. So yes, they're spinning. Ah, okay. So yeah, actually the thing now says a thing. So I just needed to new CPU installed, structure change, press Y to reset. If you have BitLocker or encryption enabled, the system will not boot without a recovery key. Press N to keep the previous and continued. Okay, gotta connect a keyboard and press Y. The fastest way to do that is with a wired keyboard, not the new one that I got from my grandma in Japan for Christmas. Okay, I think it's setting everything up. motherboard. I can, the reason it's not showing fan 1 is they're bridged. I can make adjustments later. Seems like things are going pretty smoothly. I can hear that the liquid cooling system activated. Save and exit. Yeah, that's fine. It might need to, I think it needs to finish some things. Anyway, so might need to fine tune with some of the settings just to get it to finish that up, but finished building the PC. Yeah, it's 26, 28. I find that the liquid cooling is the way to go. It's really not that much more. It is slightly more expensive, but it's night and day because when I upgraded my CPU, the last time, that was still AM4, it started getting overheated really fast, even with the heatsink and fan that came with the first CPU that I got when I first built the PC. But once I got the liquid cooling system, night and day of a difference. It wasn't near overheating anymore. It gets sometimes 60 max Celsius, even when I'm doing stuff. So sometimes 80, but that's like absolute highest it'll go with the liquid cooling. I highly, highly recommend it. It sucks that it broke on you. Yeah. The I gotten my liquid cooling on sale for like 50% off. So I spent like 30 or 20 or it was a decent price. Anyway. But I'm going to sign off and start cleaning up. So before I go do, I guess you, Big Tonk 69. Oh, huh. Did you try and see if you needed to refresh or add more water or anything? Or troubleshoot specific issues with your the specific water cooling system that you have? Because I don't do Corsair keyboards anymore because they have a known issue of eating up your RAM like crazy. they'll just start building more and more and more, and it's a known problem. If you use like the rainbow RGB stuff, which is not necessary. I see. That sucks. But the Corsair can do some really cool things, like I did with the RGB. Like I made a running GIF of a cat across a rainbow. The rainbow would go behind it. I made that myself. And you could kind of see it, which is really cool. But it has a problem where it'll start using more and more and more RAM until it uses up like all of your RAM, no matter how much RAM you have. So I just got aluminum. I got a new one for Christmas. So now I'm just gonna do standard RGB instead of the you can do your own designs. It's not necessary. So I got this aluminum keyboard. You use the two aluminum 98 keyboard for Christmas for my grandma in Japan. And can't wait to try it. Wanted to finish upgrading the computer before I tried the new keyboard. I tend to prefer the 100%, but it has to have a 9 key or separately add a 9 key because I worked retail, so I'm familiar with 9 key. And my password, the password to my computer, which is only to the computer, so it's like not gonna give you away any crazy information in order to get onto my desktop. You'd have to come to my house, figure out where I live. I don't use the same thing for anything else. But I'm learning Pi every time I need to update my passcode, I just add another digital Pi. I'm up to a lot, basically. And so the 9 keys are necessary for the. But I am going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching and all of this conversation, Big Tong 69. I really appreciate it. It's lovely. And a beautiful night. I hope you get some good rest. And take care. Any one last thing you want to say before I go? And there is going to be a pause because of the delay. I'm going to give it like 30 more seconds. Oh, Johnny boy. Your Wi-Fi went out. What I was saying was that, do you have any, like, one last question before I sign off? There is a delay, so we give you the time to ask, and then I'm gonna sign off for the night, and Swiss says bye. Aw, he's sleepy. Thank you. So you say, I'm not really glad you're able to upgrade your computer. Hopefully it lasts you a good while before having to upgrade again. Well, I don't think it's going to make a big difference in allowing me to play Dragon Age Origins, because that game just crashes, and that's just Dragon Age Origins. But hopefully I'll be able to better play some of the newer games. Have a beautiful night. God bless. Many blessings. If you don't believe in God, then blessings from kitties. If you do, then God bless. Have a beautiful evening. Much love. Good night.